Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kyla Givehand, and you have arrived on one of my favorite days of the week. It's New Pen Day. Let's check this out. Thank you to the people over at Franklin-Christoph for packaging so beautifully. So I bought myself this pen and some ink to go with it. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Olivae, like olive, I think. So it's like a green color. We're going to see. I'll do a little swatch of that. But the star of the show, always, is the pen. If it doesn't have that Franklin-Christoph logo on it, it's not authentic, folks. It's not authentic. So that's going to roll no matter where I put it. I'm excited to show you this new pen. This is one of their special colors. This is not one of the colors that they always have. All of the Franklin-Christoph pens, I won't say all because, you know, I don't have all of them, but almost every Franklin-Christoph pen I have purchased from them directly comes in a Franklin-Christoph box. You usually have a little pen case, single pen case. It's either this gray, or I think they might have one other that's kind of a different material, but this is the one I've gotten the most of, I think. Get two cartridges, two ink cartridges, a black and a blue. You get your authenticity card letting you know that you have an authentic Franklin-Christoph, and then a card from them, their business card. So I love that. You get that. Now I'm excited about this pen because, first of all, let's just name, I have not purchased a Franklin-Christoph. I don't know. I feel like I used to buy one every quarter, like every 3 months or so I was buying a new Franklin-Christoph, but I haven't had one in a while. It feels like so long. Listen, it probably has only been 3 months, but let's get into it. This one is called Disco Lemonade, and it is a 02, model 02, which is my favorite model from Franklin-Christoph, in case you did not know that. I love this. It's so lemony yellow. It like totally is lemony yellow. It's almost neon, but it's not neon. Digging this. The yellow has a little bit of diamond sparkle in it. I'll give y'all a link so you can go read all about the pen. But it's got a little bit of diamond dust. I think it's called diamond casting is what they do. And that's the same as the finial here. It has that same. The finial also has, you probably can't see it. Well, maybe right at that angle you can see it's got the Franklin-Christoph logo and diamonds. I love the O2s just because of, and this one comes with a clip. They often have them without a clip. I prefer the clips. But I love the O2 because of how deep it seats into the cap when you post it. I love that. And then it makes it, to me, this is like the perfect size. And so I love that it sits deep in the cap so that it reduces that size, because, you know, if it were, say, that size, that's not bad, but I don't know. I really love this size. So I love a Franklin-Christoph. So I have several of these. This is adding to the collection. So I did something different with this one, though. I went with a number 6 high performance steel flex in extra fine, which is completely out of my comfort zone and usual. I usually get a stub nib, or a 1.1 or 1.5. Sometimes I have one that is a music nib, or the broad or bold, whichever, you know, one you like to say. I like to say bold, but it's broad is the technical term. And medium. I usually don't go fine or extra fine, so I did something completely different this time. So why don't we ink her up? and see what we're working with. Give me a second to get set up and I will be right back to do some inking. All right, let's get into it. So I've got this Olivae. Let me just tell you my little setup when I am inking a pen for the first time or trying a new ink. I've got the ink, obviously. I've got a little Q-tip. I have a set of paper towels that I just kind of keep around, and when they get super messy, then they end up in an art journal or something. I've got a soft sort of t-shirt material that I use for wiping the pen off once I've dipped it into the ink. I have, let's talk about the journals first. I have 3 journals where I put things, and there might be a 4th showing up because I watched this really cool video. Anyway, I might be doing a 4th ink journal, but that's a whole other conversation for another time. This one is gonna be here. So this is a Strathmore, I want to say it's a Strathmore watercolor journal. Pretty sure it is, yeah. And then I also have this is a Pentalic, I don't know, maybe a sketch journal, but I like it because it's just like basic paper and you can kind of see it still shows the sheening and the shimmer. But I don't know, I like swatching it on this because I feel like this gives me a better idea of what it'll look like on just like standard writing paper versus watercolor paper. So we'll swatch on here as well. And then I have my Franklin-Christoph little journal that I use to keep all of my fountain pen logs in. And I'm in number 3, so I'll grab that. And then in this also is a little journal for just like writing sample on Tomoe River paper, a handmade little journal. And I use this one to just test it out on the Tomoe River paper. So I have a whole system here. So I will walk you through how my system is. Oh, and this one is almost out of paper. I'm gonna be so sad because I don't think that I have more of these, but I'm gonna see about printing on Tomoe River paper myself and see if I can't make some of these myself. All right, so the first thing I do is I look at the page number because I went through and I hand wrote the page numbers in. So this is page 38. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put Franklin-Christoph. Well, let's just make sure that pen wants to write. It's being kind of weird. Let's get a different pen for that because I want to be able to see it. Let's go with an 01. Ooh, that's skinny, Benny skinny. Let me go middle of this line and see what I've got here. Oh, that's the graphic too, so that's super big. Listen, I have everything but just a basic one. Here's an 08. That's fatter than that's a thicker nib than I want, but we're gonna go with it. All right, so Franklin-Christoph 02, model 02, Disco Lemonade. All right, so we got that. Then the next one is to start doing some swatching. So when they ship their inks, they have this little like shrink wrap tape type stuff over it to protect the ink in case it leaks in transit. I appreciate that attention to detail. So we'll take that off. And then I imagine there might be a little ink on the rim. So, yep, I like to just wipe that off just in case. Do a little shake of the ink. I don't think this is a shimmer ink. I don't know that Franklin-Christoph creates shimmer inks, so I don't have to worry about that so much. Yum. All right, let's start with dipping the, ooh, that's a nice dark green. I'm digging that. I'm digging that. Very lovely. Well, I have no idea why I capped that back. I kind of need that. So we'll put that one to the side. And then in this one, I like to do both. I'll go with a Q-tip dip. And then I like to bring in my water brush. And before it dries up too much, I just drop a little water on that and drag it out so that I can see that color and sort of, if I were to use it for some watercolor something or other, which I sometimes like to do, I get to see kind of what that will look like when it becomes like watercolor. And then the next thing I like to do, I'm just going to take my, this is a Speedball, I don't know, maybe it's not Speedball, I don't know the brand of this nib. I've had it for a while. It's like a little flat, round, pancake looking thing here. B4, B1, I don't know what that says, y'all, sorry. So I'm going to dip that in, just get it nice and wet. And then I just like to just kind of see it with the nib, like just kind of see it that way. Just kind of see what that looks like. I like that. That's going to be a nice ink in this pen. I'm digging that. All right, so we've got it in these two spots. That's going to take a little bit of time to dry, so I'm going to sit it over to the side so that it can dry, but I'll bring it back before we are done. All right, so carefully, I'm going to bring my pen over. And Franklin-Christophs come with those two ink cartridges that I showed you, but they also always send you a converter, which I love. So I'm just going to get that up. And I usually do a couple of pumps. I don't know. It's a habit. I feel like it's doing something, getting some air out or something. Don't quote that. I don't know that it really is making a difference, if I'm being honest. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm going to dip that into the ink. And I like to do a few primer pumps, open, close, and then slowly start drawing that ink in. When I see it start to come, I just take my time. There's no race, I'm not in a hurry. I just go slowly and draw that ink in until I feel it stop. Once I feel it stop, I just kind of wipe off my nib there, close my ink, because, well, if you just met me, hi, my name is Kiala. I spill ink all the time. So let's lessen the chances of that. Then I use my very soft t-shirty material here to wipe off any ink that may be lingering on my grip section here. Now, I am not someone who writes with the flex nib usually, so this will be fun. So I usually just kind of look to see that little bit of air that has been caught in right there. I like to take my pen, cover it with this soft thing, and then I just do a little, I just kind of flick to get that air out. And I hold this, still got ink on my finger, see? I can't do it inking without getting ink on me. It kind of flicks that, the ink is gonna flick out of the pen when you do that to release that air. And so it's going to, it needs a place to go. So I do it there. All right, let's put this pen back together. I like to do a little swirly swirl. Well, see, this is what I mean when I say I should not be left alone with the ink. Step away from the ink. Well, that's gonna be an added feature to my table now. All right, so let's see. Oh, first and foremost, smooth as butter. All right, let's see this flex. I like to write with this pen with the cap on it, so let's put the cap on. Everything's nice and tight. I'll have to figure out how to work with this flex, because I mean, it's meant to flex, but it is, oh wow, this is not like any extra fine I've ever written with. I'm loving it. I feel like I'm holding it wrong. And I feel like that is going to be an interesting thing to just play with and see. But on that downstroke, man, it lays down a lot of ink for extra fine. So I'm just going to have to learn how to, I probably need to watch a few videos on how to use a flex. Because something tells me I should be holding it differently, but like at maybe a different angle. I don't know. It's flexing. I mean, it's not that it's not flexing. It's just that I'm uncomfortable with the flex. So I'm like, am I doing it right? This ink is gorgeous. That's on Tomoe River paper. And it's like a green with a little hint of maybe gray, black in there. I'm digging it though. Very nice. All right, we'll do a little more playing with the flex. But I feel like I can get some good line variation with this depending on how I hold it. I'm digging it. I love this pen. It's beautiful. As always, Franklin-Christoph, they create a very exquisite pen. So, all right. So once I've done all that like play, then I come back over to my log and I go Franklin-Christoph, Disco Lemonade. This is for the nib, but I always put the, if there's any extra little things I want to name about the pen, I'll put that here. So 02 model. And the nib size, this is a number 6, extra fine, flex. I haven't cleaned it yet, so I'm not going to put a cleaning date there, but the ink that I filled it with is Franklin-Christoph. The color is Olivae, Olivae. And today is the 28th, I think. And I usually try to write a little something like, let's see, this flex is fun. Oh, that's lovely. New pen day is always so fun. All right, so we've got that. I'll let that get dry. I'll sit that over there. And then I'll come back to my ink samples here, my ink swatches here. So it looks really nice on this. What I also like to do is come back. Now, it's been a while since I've laid that ink down, but I like to come and see if the ink will still draw out and how much it'll draw out after I've done it. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. And that pen was being weird, so I'm going to bring out a different pen and do Olivae by Franklin-Christoph. Okay, I need to check what's going on with all of my black pens. They are being a little bit finicky tonight. And there's so many of them, and none of them are the size I actually want them to be. All right, and then we have, what did I do with my other book? Oh, I set it over here to dry up. And it's not quite dry, so let's move this one. And I am going to just dab that up just so I can move along. And we'll note that this is Franklin-Christoph Olivae. That's a nice ink. That's a beautiful green. I'm digging that in every possible way. So there you have it, the Franklin-Christoph Model 02 with a flex nib that I'm going to be playing with and try to learn how to see what that does for me. And you can kind of see that ink there and there. It's a really beautiful green. And here's another view of it. And here. So the different papers just give me a different sort of way to think about how this ink is going to show up. So I'm excited to have a new pen. This will be definitely one you see show up throughout 2025 because, well, it's my new baby. And I will be doing a little bit of a feature on Franklin-Christoph pens pretty soon here, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I hope that you have something that's bringing you as much joy today as this new fountain pen is bringing me. Y'all have a beautiful rest of your now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.